if I could use one word to describe how my 1 rep max test went today for bench, that word would be What I'm planning to do over the coming months is basically document what paused reps do to my strength. I couldn't really find many scientific articles to back up the benefits or find flaws in the use of paused reps. So I'm just going to use myself as a guinea pig and we'll see how it goes. As you can see, my deadlift and squat were steadily increasing over the past year. My deadlifts come up nicely from March to December. It's a 30 kilogram increase, and then for my squat, you can see it was also making good progress. My bench, unfortunately, I didn't actually do a 1RM assessment in either March or August. Recently, as you can see, I feel like I've hit a bit of a plateau, but I'll find out soon enough if that's the case. My handwriting is absolutely atrocious. It's an elephant. What did you think it was? Yeah, it's a pretty good elephant. It's gonna be my bench PR attempt today. Shocking. So I managed a 1 rep max of 80 kilograms, okay, which is 5 kilograms down, so I've seen a little bit of regression there. I'm not overly surprised that I've seen that regression. I was a little bit disappointed that I hadn't maintained the same strength. I think the bench will be the best one for me anyway, to see whether or not it actually has that significant impact, because like I say, my deadlift is steadily increasing, my squat is steadily increasing, but my bench is been very stagnant. So yeah, I'm very interested now to see what the results are going to be. Oh, it's so annoying. So, another fail. You know, I wasn't really that surprised about the bench not being great. However, today I was doing my squats. Thankfully I hadn't dropped. I managed 120. I thought I was going to be able to do at least 125, because I've been feeling pretty strong recently. My squats have been feeling pretty good, so I was pretty gutted I didn't manage 125 today. It is what it is. So that's 2 R8 1 rep max tests complete, just one to go, and it's my favourite, which is deadlifts.
This is how I feel right now. I pulled 155, and last time I tested it, I pulled 165.
My deadlift's potentially gone down 10 kilograms.
Oh, why?
I'm absolutely knackered. So I thought, you know, what better time to make another video. I've done now my 1 rep max tests for my bench, for my squats and deadlift. Now I can start incorporating pause reps into each of the lifts. I've started this new block of training now, incorporating pause deadlift, pause squat and pause bench. You can try to keep everything the same, so I'm not changing my eating habits radically. I'm not taking any new supplements or anything like that. Just doing the same as I always have, just incorporating the pause reps. I've got some bad news. I have concussion. Yeah, I was playing football and some big heifer off a centre back sent me flying face first into the wall. So yeah, thanks for that. So the whole point of this experiment was to see whether or not pause reps on the bench would actually make a difference to my overall strength. And look at the results. Look at that definition. Yes, this is my Captain America costume. I'm running a charity event. Every year we dress up. So I decided to go Captain America now. Let me just grab my my mask. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I look like an actual... Going to discuss my most recent 1 rep max tests. What I don't eat pizza ever. It just looked like pizza. It's not. It's actually baked quinoa with stuff on it. So I went to do my bench and pressed 80, no problem at all. Went up to 85, did 85, bit more of a struggle this time. Up to 87.5. Failed. So it did bring my 1 rep max score up. However, it didn't take me beyond my PB. So I did 120, no bother. 125, no bother. 130, it was getting pretty slow, but I managed it. Went for 135, I managed to push, I was about to say push one out, but that doesn't sound quite right. It's a 15 kilogram increase on my PB. Just get back to my quinoa. And with that, I have finished my experiment. And again, it was an improvement, but it wasn't a personal best. Oops. Ah, I can't use the camera that way round, yeah. Doofus. I need to look sophisticated for presenting my results. So, where's my glasses? Oh no! Now I've got my glasses. Shirt as well. This is what happens when you don't have to wear a shirt to work every day.
Three weeks later.
I'm still wearing trackies, by the way, but you know, I've gone sort of smart cash. Get the tie on. I can do this bit well. I'm actually really good at tying ties, okay? Just watch and learn, ladies and gentlemen. It's this tie, it's just a tie. So now that I look like a headmaster of a high school, I'm ready to go through my findings. Before I get to the results, I just want to talk about the stretch shortening cycle. We need to understand the process of the stretch shortening cycle. Now the problem with that is that scientists don't fully understand it. Basically, it's a reflex that causes a very powerful contraction from a muscle. Now, it's all to do with transition between what is known as a concentric and eccentric contraction. Okay, so a concentric contraction is basically when the muscle is shortening. Eccentric contraction is the opposite of a concentric contraction, which is where the muscle is lengthening. What has been found through science is that the transition between the concentric and eccentric contraction leads to an increased power output. More specifically, it's a short transition to increase the power output or the force production from the muscles. Now, the reason I was incorporating 4-second pauses into my experiment, according to science, it takes about 4 seconds for the benefit of the stretch shortening cycle to be eliminated. So a 4-second pause was sufficient. So the idea, according to powerlifters, is to eliminate the stored energy. Okay, so that is why 4-second pauses, elimination of stored energy, just the drive coming from the muscles. Now the second part here, why I'm not a fan of the pause deadlifts. Now this relates directly to the 4-second pauses and also to the concentric eccentric transition. The first point I make is that deadlift pauses were just below the knee. If I'm pausing at the knee, I am pausing halfway through the contraction. I'm not pausing at that transition. When I begin to drive the bar up off the floor, the hamstrings are contracting, concentrically contracting. They do not finish their concentric contraction until I am eventually upright. At that point, I begin to lower the bar back down. The hamstrings begin to eccentrically contract. That is then the transition point. Therefore, when I'm driving the bar up, I get to mid-knee, I pause there. The hamstrings are midway through their concentric contraction. They are not at that transition point between concentric and eccentric. They're not eliminating the benefits of the stretch shortening cycle. If you think about now the squat and the bench, we do pause at that transition. You drop the bar into the chest, the pectorals are lengthening, so eccentrically contracting. You hold that pause, then you drive concentrically, the pectorals contract and the bar goes back to the starting position. The same goes with the squats as well. When you sit at the very bottom of the squat and then you begin your drive, again that's that transition point where the muscle contraction changes from a concentric to an eccentric. So the pause occurs mid-contraction, therefore the purpose is not to negate the effect of the stretch shortening cycle or the stretch reflex. The last point is just to consider form. In terms of the safety of the movement, I wasn't fully convinced by it. I found it very, very difficult to try and keep my chest up, keep my shoulders back, keep my back nice and flat. So here are the results mapped out in full. December was a very good month. I hit all PBs. Then I had a decline, okay, in my performance. Down 10 kilograms for the deadlift. No change in my squat, however my bench press came down by 5 kilograms. That's when the pause reps came in. So did they actually have a significant impact on my results? So yes, they did. They did actually improve my results across all 3 lifts. Got my deadlift back up to my previous personal best, which was 165 kilograms. Bench press also came up 5 kilograms to 85. The most significant change though that I did see was with my squatting, up 15 kilograms. I think with the deadlift and my bench press, I was looking for more spectacular results, but taking everything into consideration, I should be quite happy with those results. Okay, to finish off, conclusions and considerations. Pause reps did increase strength in a trained individual. My squat increased by 15 kilograms, whereas my deadlift and my bench press just returned to my previous personal best. Whether or not I would count them as being significant results, I'm not so sure. With the squat results, certainly that's a significant result. However, with the deadlift and the bench press, I'm not so convinced. Deadlift considerations. Just talking about that transition point and the benefits of the stretch shortening cycle, as I've talked about earlier. Some of them became very apparent to me. Breathing. So it was very difficult actually to control your breathing and brace. Because the pauses were 4 seconds long, I would feel extremely dizzy as a result. This is probably down to something known as a Valsalva maneuver, which is basically when you're holding your breath and your body's under exertion or under a load. It can increase your blood pressure to the point where it can bring on dizziness, which is often what I was experiencing specifically with the squat. What I also found, just touching again on the breathing, I wasn't sure whether or not to breathe out at the bottom of the squat. When I did actually attempt to breathe out at the bottom of the squat or the bench, I lost all tightness, which I felt affected my ability to then perform the movement. So therefore I found myself holding my breath, which, as I just mentioned, did increase the feelings of dizziness. So can the strength gains that I've experienced be solely attributed to the inclusion of pause repetitions? I'm sure they did have an impact on my strength. However, to
confidently say that strength will improve because of pause reps, I would certainly need a bigger participant pool rather than just one individual. Therefore, every sports scientist's favourite conclusion, more research required. I'm not sure. So, yeah, excellent. After all that, I can't wait to get out of this.
6.5 hours later.
Yeah, boy.